housekeeping things here with this stream so I can make sure that it is public for everybody, and then I'll get right to the actual playing part. Here we go. That was fast. For everybody, and then I'll get right to sounds like me. Actual playing part. Here we go. Sounds exactly like me. Boom, boom. Paste that. Post that. Great. All right. So, there you go, everybody. This is what I'm working on today. Last day of C major. Okay. Here's all of the music for you. Make sure you have the right. Yeah, that's good. All right. So, since this is my last day with C major, I'm really going to try to be as diligently good as I possibly can be. Solid, patient with myself throughout, looking for, as always, a beautiful sound, a musical idea, and an even technique, because the speed will come. Don't sweat yourself if you can't reach my tempos. Do your best. I've been playing the clarinet since I was 12. I'm 49 years old. You do the math. I've worked on this stuff a lot, and I'm good at it now. You can be too, if you're not already. But everyone can use a daily routine that stretches them out in the ways that they need. Okay, so the first thing that I do, I'm actually a little bit warmed up. I warm up a little bit before I play on these streams, so I'm not going to show you sort of the really boring stuff that I do at the beginning of my practice. I may do that sometime, but I'm not concerned about that today. What I'm concerned about right now is just going through my scale routine. So, I'm going to start with the metronome at 80, as always. Very strong eighth note subdivision on, so I can check in with myself twice a beat to make sure that I'm actually playing evenly. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to play 2 octave modes all the way up the range of my clarinet from low E, from this low E here, right to that high F, yonder. Okay, 2 octaves at a time, in the key of C major, starting on each scale degree going up. Like this, you'll see. Starting on low E first, the lowest note of my instrument. 1, 2, 3. As I continue up this, what I'm really looking for is a vibrant sound, a lot of color, kind of a sweet, vibrant sound, and I'm listening to the evenness of my technique. I'm blowing a lot of air. I'm letting my fingers ride on that air, and I'm just allowing my air to control my technique a little bit. My fingers can comfortably ride on this conduit of air that I'm putting through, that's constantly vibrating the column on the inside of my instrument. Okay, we're on G now. Yeah. Sorry, listening to my son for a moment. Okay, so that is like just the barest, like little stretch in C major before we actually start our exercises here, okay? So I just want to get my little fingers and my brain working together at the same time. So that's a nice way to start. Now I'm going to move my tempo up to 100, and we're actually going to start to do this scale. I do it somewhat similarly to what you see there. I consider a C major scale to be this. Starting on C, going up to my high note, going down to my low note, and coming back. I'm going to try to do 4 iterations of that in one breath now. At 100, subdivision on. Easy, even, beautiful. Not thinking about tempo, I'm not thinking about technique. I'm thinking about, is the sound unified? Is it pretty all the way up and down? And do I feel like it's easy and even all the way up and down? 1. Yeah, and if you notice when I go up high, you don't see any strain in my body. You really want to keep yourself rather still so that you don't strain for those high notes like this. You see, a lot of people like change their bodies as they get high, like that is no help whatsoever. You have to stay out of your own way, stay consistent, and let that all happen in small areas of your body rather than large areas of your body, right? Like this, if I can do it. Same thing, 4 iterations, keeping my body still even when I'm going up for the high notes. Yeah, so those upper notes don't need actually any help from you whatsoever, except for good air and good voicing. But they don't need extra help. You start adding tension, you start adding muscle, you subtract efficiency, that's a killer, especially for the tempos that we're going to go for today. So here we go, 120 now, taking the subdivision off. I'll go 20 clicks up every time. Same thing, really just trying to keep it totally even, totally easy, and listening to my tone all the way up and down, trying to make a unified sound, trying to make a beautiful phrase, really, as I play, letting the technique take care of itself. Right, so I've just extrapolated the exact same thing I did 20 clicks earlier, 20 clicks slower, and just placed it 20 clicks higher. Not thinking about the technique, I'm thinking about the evenness and beauty of the sound. I'm going to try to go for 5 iterations in one breath of the scale this time. See if I can do that. Same thing, 140 now, up again, 20 clicks as always. Same idea, not worried about the tempo, not worried about the speed, worried about the sound, worrying about the ease, worrying about blowing the whole way through. Evenness. Being on the back side of the metronome, never rushing, always, always filling up the beat. So now, even though we're pushing the tempo just a little bit, we're still not, like, I'm really concerned completely about how evenly I'm playing. And the technique really starts to take care of itself because I'm not thinking about picking my fingers up and putting them down individually. I'm thinking about a larger idea. And mentally, your brain will fill in the details. So you want to give the framework of being musical while you're doing these technical exercises. That's why I'm thinking about my air, my tone quality, and the evenness of the technique. One more time at this tempo. Yeah, so speed is one thing, but having the ability to control your technique even while the technique starts to run forward, while the tempo starts to run, is really worth its weight in gold. So here we are, at 160, getting close to the speed that you would play a run at. So that's where, that's why I set my goal at 160. It's a bit elevated, but in C major, first of all, it's not too terrible, but really tried to get the fluidity of my very fast run kind of technique moving. So here's the same thing. Yeah, so we can agree that that's plenty fast, right? But I'm not really caring about that. I mean, I'm glad it's working that well, but I still want to make sure that you hear every note exactly where I want you to hear it, even at this tempo. And that's why we go from half speed, basically, to this speed. I want to hear every note the same way that I heard it at 80 and 100. At 160, it should be no different. More time. Yeah, so that's getting there, you know. It feels pretty even. It feels pretty good. I mean, that's about as good as I can do. So what else can I do for myself? Than to try to be as good as myself every day. All right, we're going to move down to this guy. Leave off this first note because who gives a shit? First, I'm going to do this slurred, and then you'll see that what I'll do with the little permutations. It's really important. It's really important how you subdivide this in your own brain to create actual evenness. You don't want to be going off of every beat like this. Now I'm overemphasizing, right? But that's a killer for your evenness. What I'm thinking about is coming from the bottom note to the first note of the next beat every time. Overemphasizing. But then in context. Okay? So from the bottom, always, that's what I'm always thinking. I overshot my tempo a little bit. 100, slurred all the way through. Right pinky, all the time. Great. Now, why my right pinky? Why do I always use this? Well, for two reasons. One, I want to keep everything in the same hand as much as possible. Okay? My left side of my brain is controlling my right hand. So consequently, I don't want to cross hemispheres if I don't have to. Second of all, this is one finger. If you start to use this, you're crossing your brain. Secondly, why use two fingers when one finger works fine? It's all about efficiency. Okay, I'm going to move the metronome to 110. I'm going to throw in some slur 2, tongue 2 articulation. I'm going to slur 2, tongue 2, tongue 1, slur 2, tongue 1, and then tongue 2, slur 2, just to get a little bit of that activity in my practice. Okay, same idea. Good air, just throwing my tongue in, letting my tongue bounce, that's all. Yeah, and I try not to make too much of a big deal out of my tongue strokes there. If I'm blowing good air, my tongue kind of bounces around a little bit. It's only a question of putting it in the right spot. And also, look, it doesn't take much to actually stop your articulation. If you look at my reed let's see, I can make it there. See, God damn it. Okay, look how thin that is at the tip, right? While I'm playing, this is vibrating its ass off all the time, like super, super fast, right? In order to stop that vibration, it doesn't take much. All I got to do is go. All I got to do is touch the reed to make it stop vibrating. I don't have to mash it into my mouthpiece. Just give it a little boop, bip. Yep, and that stops the vibration of the reed just very briefly. So don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. Back to slurs. 120. I'm not really loving how this reed is vibrating that much. I'm going to see if a different one might be better, but I'm not going to concern myself with it too much because I'm in a practice room, right? I'm not performing anywhere except for you. But my reed's a little bright. It's a little too free today, but I don't want to mess with it too much because the weather is very different today than it's been recently, so Just going to leave it as is. Let's try 120 again. Same thing. Easy, even, blowing good air all the way through. Lots of bounce. Yeah, not bad. You know, I'm just thinking that whole time about keeping it even, keeping it not rushing, keeping it within the tempo, and keeping it legato. The technique follows itself. 140, here's our goal. Should be about the same. A little quick. One more time. Yeah. So again, you know, we're getting pretty quick now, but what I'm really looking for, and I'm trying for myself, and I'm doing the best that I can do, is to try to hear every note. Even though we're going pretty fast, I still want those notes to appear within the beat, exactly where I want them to appear within the beat. I'm still trying to control every single note, every single beat, every single subdivision to wrest complete control from my instrument to myself. Rest is probably the wrong word, but you know, you get what I'm saying. Don't give me a hard time. Okay, I'm trying a different reed here. This is a newer one. Just going to see if it's a little more oomphy than the last. Not really, but I'll play this one for a little bit. Let's see how this goes. This reed is auditioning to be in my A box. I've got 3 boxes of reeds. One that is just for reeds that are just getting broken in. This is the oldest box that I have. I mean, the oldest actual box that I have had. I've had this box since graduate school. This is my B box. These are reeds that are close to being able to be performed on. And this is my A box. This is the reeds that I perform on. I take a little bit better care of them. So this reed is auditioning to be part of this of the good box. Hasn't quite made it yet, but I think it's a good candidate. So let's go back to the next exercise. This guy right here. This guy. It's called the interrupted scale. You'll see it goes up by scale degree, and then again goes down by scale degree. It's a pretty simple concept of an exercise. I'm going to subdivide it the same way. I'm not going. So remember, we're trying to build evenness, and evenness has a lot to do with how you're thinking about things. 100, 8th note subdivision on, always at 100. I'm trying to check in twice a beat to my evenness. 1. That's super fun, playing those higher notes on a reed that you haven't tried yet, but whatever, it's fine. So 120 now, taking the subdivision off, trying to keep that same idea of ease, unified tone quality. It's okay to retake little things or make sure that things are settled, especially this being my last day for a while spinning on this scale. I want to make sure that I'm leaving it like a Boy Scout. I'm leaving it in better condition than I found it. 140. Here's our top for all of these exercises except for the scale is 140. Okay, you'll notice that when I'm playing this, I'm not looking at the music. I think it's really important as one gets used to doing the routine daily, that at least for the scale portion, that you do it away from any music, that you do it totally from your own brain. It just doesn't happen overnight. I didn't memorize all this stuff in one sitting. But as a long-term goal, no music. Okay, here's our goal, 140. Just trying to keep it even, keeping the same idea of the subdivision in my brain, the same idea of just trying to make a beautiful sound up and down, and then the technique is hopefully going to take care of itself. That's about what I can do. I had something to say, but I forgot it. Okay, so if we're going to finish off with thirds here, boink. Okay, take the repeat, take a breath, take the repeat. Fuck the articulation. It's a little too kind of barky. All right, let's do it anyway. Here we go. This was not making my #1 box today. This is really the only one of these particular exercises that gets a little bit challenging, or somewhat challenging as you get fast here. I'm going to put my original reed back on. Just deal with it, because I don't love that one either. Those of you who don't play the clarinet should be happy that you don't, because the weather affects my reeds, which is awesome. Super fun to have an instrument that feels a little different every day. Here's 120, same thing, no articulation. Trying to keep it easy within the subdivision while right, so like this. I'm going to take both of those one more time because I didn't like going over the break on the top on either iteration. So let me just look at that for a second. You see, I took a little time with myself. I reordered, I just looked over the spot that I didn't love. I liked what I did, and then I put it in context. At no point did I beat myself up. At no point did I go, oh God, I can't, that's not really going to be a positive experience for yourself. You have to be your own coach. You have to be your own support staff. And you don't want to have a coach or a support staff around you that's beating you up all the time. You want to have a coach and a support staff that's challenging you, that's supporting you, but not beating you up. Okay, speaking of not beating myself up, here we are at 140. This is the most challenging little part of this bit. Let's see if I can hang with it. Yeah, so it does get a little challenging, particularly over the top, but you know what? That's as good as I can do right now, okay? So I'm going to leave that, give myself a break, not kill myself. That is difficult, somewhat. Let's move on. Do some light housekeeping here and put this reed back in my B-box, box 2. So that I know where it is and I'm safekeeping. The thing is about all of these reeds have a story. Like every single one of these, I know what they feel like. I know when they made that transition into that box. Some are harder, some are softer. It really is like having an arrow in your quiver for any situation. Take a quick pee break. Be back 2 minutes. All right. Thanks for sticking around, those of you who've decided to do that. You know, I always like throw in an extra rep if I have to. You know, there's no pride involved in doing this. Or, you know, pride should not necessarily be a factor. You know, if you're too proud to do an extra rep, you're probably in the wrong business. You know, and the answer, if you ask yourself the mental question, should I do another rep? The answer is yes. Every time. Better to do an extra one than leave an extra one out there. You want to leave all of your work on the floor. Don't leave part of your effort unefforted. All right. So every day I call these my not-so-secret weapon. These are exercises by Fritz Kroepsch, very old. To do them, the idea of doing them is quite simple. I set my metronome at 60 and I go. I play everything in tempo. The earlier ones are quite slow because we're at 60 and they're only 16th notes. But in the first 5 exercises in particular, I'm looking for the most seamless legato, the most even technique, even though there's not technique involved, there is technique involved, evenness, beauty of sound, seamlessness of legato. Four repeats per exercise before finishing with the final bar. And again, there can be no more simple exercise on the face of it than what I just played. That is, looks and sounds very easy, and on one level it is, but I promise you that there was no time during those 4 reps that my mind was not engaged on making every single note really, really good. There absolute concentration on making everything that I want to happen, executing my plan throughout. The state of constant evaluation. this one can be a challenge for younger players in particular, to not have a problem, and not re-articulate going. Until you learn how to voice well, you might get something like this. Okay, so it all really is a question of taking care of these higher notes in such a way that really I'm only thinking about making a beautiful. So I'm really only listening to. So, in context. Right, and you're listening for it in that way, it's quite obvious that that's what I'm doing. Okay, number 4. Legato, 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 legato. Yeah, so that's a challenging little moment at the very end, and it's all about keeping your top lip quite firm on the top of your mouthpiece here. To go. You both have to have a really beautiful airstream going, and also really just not let go of this top lip for whatever reason, especially from that B to A flat interval. If you kind of relax here, you'll lose the thread. You got to keep this down like a garage door, clamped on top of your mouthpiece. Softly, like a beautiful thing. Number 5, I do a couple of different ways. First, I separate them, then I put them completely together. You'll see. First way, like this. And then the much more valuable and difficult legato, the second 2 iterations. Yeah, and really the only way to do that super successfully is to make sure that you really just vacate your thumb off of that register key almost early. You don't want to be still kind of hanging out here when you go back down. You want to make sure that you're fully unloaded from that register key, that you're not at all touching it, that you are fully away from it. All right, moving on. Number 6, into sextuplets now. Still keeping a really easy idea, very even. once again, I'm like totally, I'm doing, especially on these notes, this line here, this very last bit, you have to go over this top break. Couple of things. One, half holding every single time. I'm not picking my finger up and putting it down. I'm going point, 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 which is much more efficient. I half hold everything anyway. And then for that high G, we're going to go 1 and 3, 1, 2, E flat key. 1, 3, 1, 2, E flat key. And that really just A jumps out and B jumps out in a nice nice intonation. It never not works. It always works. Number 7. Once again, I'm only thinking about those top notes. On that last measure. Yeah, that G that you come back to is called a pedal note. Any note that you just return to over and over is a pedal. And I don't even really think about that pedal. I think about that scalar passage. As long as you're thinking about it that way, the G's will speak easily. If you stop thinking about it that way, then you'll get a lot of super easy. Super easy. It's just thinking about that line and not the G's. All right, we're going to move into number 8, which moves us into 30-second notes. Boink. Still try to keep everything super easy, super even. Keep everything exactly within the beat where it's supposed to be. Yeah. And one of my reps I didn't like, but I didn't beat myself up about it. I just took a second, I retook it, and everything was fine. Okay. So sometimes, in the practice room, something a little squirrely will show up. The worst thing that you could do is to start to batter your head against it, because you don't want to introduce the idea of these mistakes into your playing. If you kind of reiterate mistakes a couple of times, your hands get confused as to where they're supposed to go. Your motor function is not that bright of a part of your brain. So if you keep showing your hands the wrong note, they'll keep thinking that they're playing the right one. You want to show them the right notes only, all the time. All right, moving on to number 9. The last measure of this is somewhat ridiculous, but we'll give it a shot, eh? Number 10. Here we go. You know, look, obviously I didn't love that last measure, but we're getting a little out of hand with our tempo here, so I'm not going to beat myself up about it. I suppose if it was a major orchestral edition coming up, then I would spend a little more time on it, but for now... Okay? So, number 10. Keeping it nice and even, looking for a lot of legato, looking for tone, technique will come. Keep the same beat, but I'm going to change the subdivision, or I'm going to keep the same subdivision, but I'm going to change the beat. So now we're moving from a two subdivision beat into a 3 subdivision beat. So from 60 to 40 is the same 60th note subdivision, or 32nd note subdivision, just in 3 instead of 4, but the same tempo. There we go. We'll finish it off now. that. See, again, 59 minutes. So without talking, I'm getting through this in 45 to 50 minutes, which is like certainly a beautiful amount of time to spend on yourself daily, to keep yourself A, as sharp as you are, and B, to sharpen your edge every day, a little bit better every day. Each exercise, a little bit more concentration, a little bit more success, a little bit more fluidity. You know, if you get 1% better every day, after 100 days, you're twice as good. Thanks for stopping by. I really, really appreciate it. There will be more later. Thank you.